everyone, and welcome back once again to Simply Scented Life. My name is Rachel for those who don't know me, and I am back with another post-burn in-depth review. This time we are taking a look at Kringle Candle's new fragrance, Frosted Dawn. This is another one of the Winter Flight fragrances that will be launching on Thursday, December 4th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. I already reviewed Snowy Cascade from this collection. There's one more, as well as 3 reserve fragrances, like winter reserve fragrances that will be launching in conjunction with these on Thursday. And I reviewed one of those as well. So I will have all the relevant information on the other fragrances in these collections, links to my other reviews. All of that will be in the description of this video. So definitely take a look if you are kind of just catching up on these. But for the sake of not repeating it multiple times for multiple reviews, that's where you will find it. And I did take advantage of the ambassador's pre-order. So I am a Kringle Candle ambassador for those who don't know. We were given the opportunity to order these ahead of the launch. So no, these were not gifted to me. I did purchase them in a pre-order. So that's why I have them beforehand in order to get these reviews out to you ahead of this launch. So thank you to Kringle for allowing us to do that. And if you are going to be shopping this launch, you are welcome to use my code Simply Scented for 15% off of your order. If you need a discount code, if you have rewards, use those. Definitely make sure you're getting the best deal. But if you do choose to use my code, it is a commission code, so just be aware of that. And I do thank you so much if you choose to use it. It really does help my channel keep plugging along here with content and reviews. So thank you guys so much. But we will just kind of get back into today's topic here, Frosted Dawn. We will go through this review. I will give you Kringle scent notes. We will get into some comparisons here. I've already made a post about this, so we will talk a little bit more about that, and then we will get into the performance and all that good stuff. So if you're interested in Frosted Dawn, which I know many of you are, stay tuned. All right, so before I give you the notes, I'm going to let you guys know this review is based on about 35 hours or so of burn time, and I believe the pour date on this candle was July 17th, 2025, like the others in this collection. I will double check that. I forgot to double check it before I filmed, but I will put that in the description, especially if it's any different than what I just told you. But I think it was July. And I'll tell you what, guys, first, I think I just want to apologize a little bit here, because when I received my pre-order box, I posted about this candle to my wall here on YouTube. I posted in the Kringle Facebook group, and I posted on my Instagram. So wherever you follow me, that this was my favorite and that it was a standout for me. And the thing is, I don't like to be somebody who creates hype. Now, I am a straight shooter. I think many of my regulars around here will attest to the fact that if I like something, I tell you. If I don't like something, I'm not afraid to be critical, regardless of being an ambassador or not. I definitely have had my share of constructive criticism with Kringle, but when I like something, I really like it, and I will tell you, this just happens to be one that I really do like. And after I made that post, I started seeing other posts from other ambassadors popping up, all kind of pointing out this one as they stand out. So I could already see folks getting upset saying that ambassadors are hyping this one up. That really wasn't my intention here, guys. So I apologize if I contributed to that sort of feeling that there's hype around this candle. That was not my intention. I just really happen to like this one. And the reason I happen to like it so much is because it bears some resemblance, some common ground with another all-time favorite of mine that I've talked about recently here on my channel, Cozy Christmas. Now, while I definitely feel like in the Kringle world, Cozy Christmas is the closest comparison. I've heard others say Bath & Body Works Winter as a more sort of mainstream, well-known scent. You can make that same comparison because I can put Cozy Christmas and Winter in that same sort of scent family, if you will. But There are some definite differences here. I don't want it to sound like this is just a copycat or a dupe. There are definitely differences here between those scents, but the overall just tone and feeling about it just has a very sort of similar vibe. They definitely have some common ground that I think if you enjoy one, you will enjoy the other. And there are some things about this one that maybe if you don't like certain things about Cozy Christmas or about winter, that you might actually like this one better. So I will kind of break all that down for you as we get into this review, but definitely see some common ground here. I will say in just a general scope here, this Frosted Dawn does feel slightly less wooded in nature, and it's definitely got more of a sweetness to it, and different fruit elements here that do differentiate it from Cozy Christmas and from winter. So there definitely is some differences. We will get a little bit more into that once we get into these notes here, which I will give you Kringle's notes here. We've got top notes of mulled fruit, fir needle, and lemon peel. We have mid notes of clove, cinnamon bark, and maple, and base notes of balsamic, frankincense, musk, and smoky vanilla. Now, since I already kind of gave you my cold sniff impression there, what I can tell you guys is I feel like going from cold to warm, the scent does definitely open up more. It doesn't change its overall feel, but it definitely opens up more of these sort of intricacies of these notes here. They start to come out a little bit more, and it definitely becomes more of a well-rounded scent. You start to see some more of those differences between this and Cozy Christmas, and I really like the way this one warms up and the way it kind of makes sense in my mind for those who are familiar with Cozy Christmas. If that is your more cabin-like, your more country-like scent, a little bit more rustic sort of scent, very much focused on that firewood and not as much sweetness and just more of a hearth-like quality to it. If that's your sort of country scent, this feels like a little bit more of an upscale, a little bit more polished, maybe a little bit more sophisticated, slightly fancier version. Like instead of your cabin and you're in the woods, this is maybe more like nicely decorated wintertime in the suburbs, if you want to think of it that way. Not super, super fancy, but like just a little bit more upscale in nature versus like a cabin type of scent, if that makes sense. And I don't know. Usually I gravitate towards the cabin type scents, and I do absolutely love Cozy Christmas. So I don't think this is going to top that for me, but I absolutely love what this is. And it's a nice change of pace that I feel like is definitely appropriate for the holidays because it does not feel out of place at all. I'm very much enjoying this, burning this now in December, but you can absolutely carry this straight through the winter without problem and without it feeling too holiday-like, but a really nice, just anytime in the winter sort of fragrance. One thing I will add to that as it relates to Bath & Body Works winter in comparison, I would say, personally, I find Bath & Body Works winter to come across a little bit more sharp in nature with the pine note and the clove. It's a little bit more sharp. It can be a little bit more overwhelming in nature. And now, guys, I love Bath & Body Works winter. It is probably my most repurchased scent from Bath & Body Works. It's been a staple in my home. So I'm not saying that's a bad scent, but if you happen to find it to be a little bit on the sharp side, it's a little bit too much for you, I do think this is probably something that's going to be a little bit more palatable, a little bit more smooth, and just a little bit more toned down in nature while giving you somewhat of a similar ambience. Now, as we break down these scent notes here a little bit, I guess we'll start with the mulled fruit, which is a pretty standout note to my nose. It's definitely one of the things that jumps out to me here when I smell this fragrance. And because it's a mulled fruit note, I will tell you guys, it feels a little bit more subdued than your like typical juicy, fruity sort of fragrance. So yes, there is definitely a fruity presence here, but it does feel more tempered down, more mulled, and more subdued. And It's not overly distinct fruity elements, but I'm going to tell you guys the things that come to my mind here the most. And that would be, I feel like I'm getting some sort of orange pomander vibes going on here with this one. Not over the top, but I do feel like I'm getting some sort of orange in the mix here. I also feel like I'm getting possibly a little bit of an apple note and also maybe a little bit of a winter berry, like a cranberry, something not overly sweet, but just in that sort of scent family of fruits, which I do feel like fall typically into that sort of mulled fruit category. So if you have had the new Kringle Candle Vintage Christmas this year, I feel like I get a similar fruity tone in Vintage Christmas as I'm getting here. Maybe a little bit more prominent in Vintage Christmas, but it has a similar quality about it. So if you like the fruity tone of Vintage Christmas, you'll probably like the fruity elements that I'm getting here as well. And I'm also getting that lemon peel, which is, in my opinion, it feels like lemon peel, but it also feels like maybe more in line with a lemon slice because it doesn't have any sort of bitterness about it that sometimes I get with lemon peel. This has almost a just slightly sweeter, juicier tone to that lemon note. Not super juicy. We're not talking lemonade here, but like just a little bit more than the peel itself, but that rind is still definitely on there in the mix, but a little bit more like lemon slice like to my nose than straight lemon peel. But all that fruity essence, they're kind of mingling very nicely, blending very nicely, but I do definitely get that lemon a little bit more distinctly than some of the other notes there for sure. But as for the fir needle here, that really doesn't have a overly strong presence to my nose. It feels a little bit more background. And that's where I say it doesn't have an overly holiday quality about it. It's definitely not a tree focused fragrance. It has that sort of woods outdoors feeling about it. It's contrasted a little bit by some warmth here, but you definitely do get that little bit of an outdoors element with the fir needle in the background, but still very winter appropriate and just not the focus of this candle. What I do get a little more so than the fir needle for sure is some of these a little bit more spicy elements here. I would say I definitely get a little bit more in terms of clove than I do cinnamon bark, though I do feel like both are there. The clove coming across to me as a sort of woody, peppery, sort of warm clove note here. It's not harsh. It's not overwhelming, but it's definitely more of a like warm sort of background spice. Some of that warmth could be coming from the cinnamon bark as well. I'm just not getting like a red hot cinnamon quality about this. It's not really jumping out at me as cinnamon heavy or cinnamon dominant. Definitely getting more of that clove, which I happen to really love clove, but it's got a nice warm peppery tone to it. And the balsamic frankincense here, that also for me is adding a little bit of a woods tone, but it's a little bit more of a resinous, woodsy, earthy tone. And again, a little bit more kind of not background, but it's kind of just embedded in there. It's definitely more of a base note that the longer I burn this scent, the more I detect it, rather than at the front end of the burn where it definitely has a little bit more of a fruity presence. But as I burn this candle a little bit longer, getting in now a little bit deeper into this jar, getting a little bit more of a sort of resinous, earthy tone at the base here with that balsamic frankincense, and it's really nice. Another thing worth pointing out here is with this maple note that they give us, honestly, guys, I really don't get anything that smells like maple to me. I don't get anything that leans like a syrup or a gourmand or even maple tree, really. It really doesn't scream maple to me. There is an overall sweetness to the candle, so maybe that's the maple coming through. Maybe it's part of that sort of resinous quality I'm getting with the frankincense, that sort of sweet resinous quality. I don't know, but I'm just not getting a distinct maple. So if that was putting you off from this fragrance, I don't know if others have picked that up. I haven't watched reviews yet, but personally for me, I'm really not getting maple here. It's not overly musky to my nose. I think the musk here is kind of what's giving that little bit more polished feeling, that little bit more, not quite elegant or luxurious, but just like a little bit more upscale sort of feeling about this, making it feel a little bit more sophisticated in nature. And then that smoky vanilla coming through at the base here, giving it this sort of warm, cozy quality that nice winter coziness that I am looking for personally. And I gravitate to fragrances like this. And I will tell you, this is not an overly smoky scent. So not heavy in the smoky element if you don't like that, but just that sort of background coziness where when it's combined with the vanilla, it's very mellow and it's more of a background element that just makes this have that sort of warm coziness on the coldest winter day sort of feeling. But it's just really nicely done. Everything here is just very well balanced, in my opinion, well blended, and just an overall beautiful fragrance that I am really enjoying. So all we have left here now to discuss is performance, which honestly, guys, has been great. No issues again with this one. Really my typical Kringle burn, watching those wicks in the early part of the candle, those first couple burns, making sure you're trimming as needed, because my Kringles do tend to start a little bit hot, but then after 2 to 3 burns, they usually settle down quite a bit. And I have had a nice steady burn here going, and the wicks have been just right, not burning overly hot. Definitely not getting really any much soot at all with this one. And I have done some longer burns on this one, guys, because I've really been enjoying it. So really not having any issues in terms of the burn quality with this fragrance. The strength and throw, I would say, this is kind of another mid-range sort of scent for me in my experience. Burning in a very sort of open concept space with this one. I have tried this one in my kitchen. I've tried it in my living room area. I've tried it in my entryway, and always kind of having a standard sort of 6.5, maybe 7, you could say, depending on your room, in terms of the actual intensity of the fragrance. Making itself known, definitely detectable, but not overwhelming and not overpowering in your face. And similar again in terms of the actual ability to throw itself. It fills the space nicely. It's sort of light on the air where it drifts around a little bit, but it's not heavy in the air. It's handling my open concept space, but it's not filling my whole house, but just really nice. And this pairs beautifully with so many different types of scents. I try to isolate my review burns as much as possible, so I always know what I'm smelling, but you could easily pair this up with something more holiday. If you're going to be burning this in December and you want to add to that a little bit more to the holiday feeling here, you can easily pair this with something tree. You can pair this up with another smoky scent if you want that. I did overlap this a little bit with Smoldering Ember from this Reserve launch. So if you want to add a little bit more smokiness, Smoldering Ember made a nice complement there. But I mean, you could do this so many different ways. I also talked about in my Snowy Cascade review that this made a nice sort of complement to that one when burned across the house. So it's very versatile. And I honestly, I don't like to be the hype guy. I really don't, guys. I just really like this one. So for me, I feel like this is definitely something I would repurchase again. And I'm kind of sad that I didn't buy 2 when I bought this one. But you know what? You just never know. And I will tell you, just the more I burn it, the more it's grown on me. So I definitely see myself wanting to pick up another jar of this in the future. I will say this is probably the one that seems to be the most popular. So will it sell out? I honestly don't know. I really don't know what they have in terms of quantity. So it's hard to say. I mean, if you have your heart set on it, I would probably act sooner than later. But I mean, it could stick around. You just never know. So I don't want to be like pushing the FOMO and, buy now. But you just never know with these. So if you do have your heart set on it, I wouldn't wait. But I really couldn't tell you guys if any of these will sell out. I think most of them will probably last on the website for a little bit, but definitely check out other reviews as well. This is just my interpretation, my take on this fragrance that I'm really enjoying. So with that said, I would just want to thank you guys for once again tuning in, taking the time out of your day to watch this review. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Really appreciate that. And, thank you guys so much. If you are going to be picking this one up, I'm really curious to see what the masses have to say about this one, if it lives up to the now hype. Definitely let me know if this one's on your list, if it sounds like something you're going to enjoy. But thank you guys so much. I have one more review to get out today, and that is for the Winter Reserve Fragrance Ice. So stay tuned for that, and thank you guys. I'll be back soon with another review.